All right, everybody. The first episode of the Raw Knuckles podcast with the Sick Podcast Network. And today, I'm so glad to have my former teammate, Mats Naslund.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to the Sick Podcast. Raw Knuckles. Hosted by Chris Nilan.
Nilan going ballistic. I love it. He's going to hit his own players. He's a madman. He's a freaking madman. Look at him going to town. That'll be a suspension. That'll be a fine. Bring them all out, Nilan, you freak.
It's going to be sick.
Matty, good to see you, pal.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah. Listen, God, I think back of time with the Canadiens, and there were two players, yourself and Peter Svoboda, who when they came here for the first time, I looked at them. I looked at you and I looked at him and I said, these two are going to get killed in the NHL. How are they going to survive? Peter was a tall but skinny kid, and you, 5'7", 160 pounds, not an overly large fellow. How was it for you coming over here the first time? That were you nervous? Were you not sure about the NHL? What was going through your head when you?
Well, not really, because I always been competing on the top level. I played the Junior World Championship against Bobby Smith and Gretzky and Ryan Walter, Gartner, whatever. And then I played a couple of World Championships in Europe and then one Olympics. So I was pretty experienced when I got it. I had played against Bob Gainey. I had played against Rick Green numbers of times. So I was not I had respect for the other players, but I was never afraid of the other players.
Yeah, well, playing against Rick Green, that must have been a real good experience for you. You must have realized quickly that you could beat an NHL defenseman pretty easily, right?
Well, especially on the big ice. I could beat Greeny.
Right.
But no, I know what it took to become an NHL player. I didn't know. It was pretty rough games, but I was never involved in the fighting or whatever. You had guys like you doing that and protecting me, but when I look at some old games now against the Nordics, Boston, I'm happy I survived those 8 years.
Yeah, for sure. Now, listen, I want to go back to the beginning for you. And you grew up in Timrå?
Yeah, Timrå,
in Sweden.
Yeah.
What's that like, a young kid growing up in Sweden? Obviously, Borja Salming was the first Swede to come over here. And really, I look back at the day, and people always ask me about tough hockey players. Who are the toughest guy who ever played the game? I think of Borja Salming as one of the toughest guys. And I mean that from the standpoint that the Swedes and the Europeans did have a reputation of not being physical players or tough players.
Yeah.
Borja Salming came over here and blazed the way for everybody. But he put up with so much his first couple of years.
Yeah.
Like, it's incredible that what he did to blaze a way for you guys.
Yeah, he was enough crazy to take that. He challenged the tough guys in Philadelphia, I guess, some games, and he really he made it easier for us for sure. But there was a few other guys that came before me, so I never had any big problems that guys going after me. And I remember a couple of times Dino Ciccarelli was trying to dance with me, and you just came by and said, if you touch him, I kill you. And he let me go. And it was incidents like that. But I was never close to get into a fight, or probably Scott Stevens, those guys was trying to get me, but I don't think I was lucky that they never got me bad.
So growing up in a small village like you did in Sweden, how does hockey for you start? Like, did you skate on the pond like here in Canada? A lot of kids skate on the pond?
I probably skated for 3-4 hours every day when I from age 5-6 years old maybe. And Inge Hammerström, who was the other guy that came with Salming 73, is from Timrå too. And Timrå has produced a lot of players, and the only thing you did in Timrå was play hockey. and later Kjell Dahlin came to Montreal, and he was also from the same street as I. So growing up in Timrå, hockey was your only option, and I never had any goals. Certainly not to make NHL, because it was that we never saw a game on TV back then from NHL. So maybe my goal was make the national team in Sweden. That was probably what I wanted with my hockey. And after that, it was natural. I got drafted from Montreal, and then I came. I was, like I said, played 3-4 World Championships, so I was ready for NHL.
So playing in Timrå, your first year was what, 16 years old?
Yeah, I was 16 years old when I made the big league there, yeah.
So when we look back at that time in that era, so you're 16 years old, you're playing for Timrå, it's professional hockey there.
No, not then.
No,
I was working as a carpenter pretty much, let's say, around 70%.
Okay.
We practiced at 4, and then I got home at 6 maybe. So I my first 4 years in Sweden, I was still working as a carpenter.
So your first 4 years, so that would be with 3 years with Timrå, then you went to
I went to Brynäs after
Brynäs.
that. Yeah.
All right. So when do you start getting paid to play hockey?
Well, enough paid to live on it was probably my last year in Brynäs before I came here. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It was, let's say, semi-professional. But my last year, I got enough money to live on it. Yeah.
So that's the Swedish Elite League, right?
Yeah.
That you played in?
Yeah.
Now, back in that era, the 80s, late 70s, 80s, what kind of money could a guy make?
Oh, I probably made, let's say I got at the best $1,000 a month.
A month.
Yeah, and then I had to work as a carpenter to make the rest of my living.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, but it has changed now. They make pretty much like they do in the farm team over here, I would say.
Okay.
So now they are professionals.
Yeah, the average salary has gone up.
Yeah.
So you're there. You spent 4 years in how you say
Brynäs, yeah.
Brynäs.
And you know,
Hole.
Yeah. One thing with Brynäs is that we went on the ice in like August the 1st.
Yeah.
So every summer when we started on the ice, Boris Salming was with us on the ice. So I don't know if I competed with him, but I know what it takes to be an international player. So every summer we practiced with Börje. So that was I was like an idol, practicing with an idol. I guess like when you came here to practice with Lafleur was probably the same thing for me, practicing with BJ.
Yeah. So Boris Salming, obviously, everybody in Sweden loved him.
Yeah.
Right. And he was I said he was the guy that kind of set the tone for Swedes to come over here. How about, Don Cherry talked a lot, and a lot of Canadian kids, a lot of American kids. The reputation of the Swedes was that they were scared and they couldn't fight and they weren't tough.
Yeah. Now,
when you think of that, when you heard that for the first time, what went through your mind?
No, what I heard the first time, probably what Don Cherry said, I didn't hear that maybe 2 or 3 years after, and I don't think he did his job. Yeah. It was a show, and I don't think he really hated Europeans that much. He probably liked Salming, and he probably liked me too, and scored the big goals and so on and so forth. But I got the respect from everybody when I got here. And I think a big part of that was because Bob Gainey took care of me. I lived with Bob first weeks I got here. And that, I guess that was a kind of a sign to the rest of the team, like you and Mario or Mark Hunter, whatever, that Bob's take care of this guy. We got to respect this guy. I think that helped me a lot.
Yeah. I guess the point I was trying to get at is when you were in Sweden, did you hear of this rumor that everybody over here thought that Swedes?
Yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened in the World Championships. Yeah, and the guys that told you if you touch the puck, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And I mean, that's
Yeah.
to me, that's a joke.
Yeah.
Especially if I tell you the name of those guys who did it, you will start laughing.
Yeah. I'm
With
sure.
Barry Long, Maurice Mott. I mean, this guy is not very tough guy. So
Yeah. Right.
That
And
was,
they were acting tough. But,
yeah. So
Um,
that never bothered me. No.
So 1980, you played for the Swedish Olympic team your first time. Is that your first time making the national team? Or
No, I
did
made
you
it
play
the year before in Moscow.
World Championships?
Yeah.
Okay. So coming over here and playing in the Olympics, Lake Placid, 1980, the U.S.
Yeah.
wins
Yeah.
the gold medal, which was awesome. What kind of experience was that for you coming over for the Olympics? Was that your first time over in North America? Or
No,
had you
I
been
played the
before?
Junior World Championship in Montreal, 77, 78.
Yeah.
And we actually screwed that tournament up because we beat Canada. So we was in the final against the Russians. That's not what Alan Eagleson and those guys was expecting.
They didn't want that. Yeah.
So
for
when
sure.
when the two teams for the finals was decided, I think the interest of that Junior World Championships went down the drain.
Yeah.
Gretzky was 16 then, and he was a really upcoming superstar, and I was in the All-Star team with him. So that's after that I got drafted from Montreal, even if I was not very big.
Yeah. So you get drafted in 79. I
Yeah.
was drafted the year before.
Yeah,
And I didn't come. I stayed one more year in college.
yeah.
You don't come right away. Actually, you didn't come for 3 years later. What was up with that?
No, that's the way it was back then, because no Swedish player wanted a two-way contract.
Well, you didn't even get an invite, though, your first year. I know when I got drafted in 78, I got drafted so late,
Yeah.
I got a letter inviting me to training camp, even though I wasn't going to go. But didn't you receive a letter to come to camp after?
No,
you were drafted?
either my advisor, which was a lawyer, I don't think they accepted that. They wanted a one-way contract on the table, otherwise we wouldn't go.
Okay.
So then the Habs were doing okay until the year before I got there. Then they lost in the playoff, and so they had to do something. And apparently they told the media that we have a guy in Sweden that is really, really good.
Yeah.
So then they had to bring me.
Yeah.
And 1 year I got hurt with the Achilles tendon.
Yeah.
Was cut in playing badminton. So
Oh,
that was a year I had to stay too. So, but I think we wanted experience before we got here back then. Now it's different, but
Yeah.
no, I don't think any of the players before 84, 85 came over to NHL without the one-way contract.
Yeah. Well, you were the first European player to play for the Montreal
Yeah,
Canadiens,
I was the first European. Yep.
which was incredible. You snap your Achilles tendon playing badminton.
Yeah.
That's as bad as me breaking my ankle before the All-Star game playing
Yeah.
basketball.
Yeah, that's
Hello.
but,
Yeehaw.
but that was my only injury too.
I know.
yeah.
Listen, 8 years with the Canadiens, and you missed 23 games. So when we talk about toughness and durability and talent, you proved that time and again when you came over here.
Yeah.
You were durable, Matty.
Yeah, I was like what's the Duracell wrap?
Yeah, the Duracell battery.
Yeah, yeah, but
Takes a
I
lick and keeps on kicking.
yeah. Well, I was always in pretty good shape. I came off summer not overweight like some other guys came a couple of years.
Who could that be?
No, I was always in good shape, so I guess that helps too.
You're right about that. I was fat.
Yeah,
I
you
remember
were.
I came to camp fat. Serge almost put a fat clause in my contract.
Yeah.
He almost did it, he said, and then he didn't do it. But so you come over here in that first year coming to the Canadiens, and you know this city, you know, the limelight of hockey, everybody's looking at you. The pressure of playing in this city. How was it when you first came here? And again, I remember you coming over, but I don't remember all the details. I know you lived with Bob for a while. Bob took care of you.
Yeah, Bob
when you
took care
come
of me.
over. Did
me
Eva come right away, or
No,
your wife?
the thing was that no, my advisors again, he told me you should go over concentrating on the hockey. And we got a kid born in June, and the advisor told us you should get married before you get over. So we got married in August, which was tough to explain.
Shotgun wedding, I guess.
Yeah,
No,
it was tough. Yeah, it was forced, but we would have been married anyway after. But I remember I told Katarina that we have a kid that is 3 months old. And how long you been married?
Was that Robert?
No,
Oh,
Daniel. And she said, how long you been married? I said, 1 month. And she said, no, you mean 1 year? No, I said 1 month. So it was not very common to have a kids before you got married then. Now it's different, I guess.
So you must have been confident when you came here that you were going to make the team. You weren't really much
No, I
worried
wasn't
about that.
concerned about anything else. And I got off to a great start.
Yeah,
I scored a hat trick against Philadelphia, my first exhibition game.
Yeah, so that must have kind of opened the eyes.
Yeah, oh yeah. Then I got probably a call to get an apartment and bring a family. I would think they could not send me down after scoring a hat trick against Pelle Lindbergh. That's for sure.
No, they couldn't. The only thing you could have done better that night is maybe beat up.
Who?
Dave Schultz.
Yeah, why not? No, they had retired.
But getting that hat trick certainly helped.
Yeah.
So, Matty, you're here 8 years adjusting to North America. How was it away from the rink, making that adjustment for you?
Well, Sweden, a Swedish mentality and the Canadian mentality is pretty much the same. I don't know if it's high taxes or whatever, but we are pretty similar. I think I see the difference a little bit living in the States and living in Canada. So that I would probably easier to adjust to Canada for a Swedish player. So I had no problems.
Yeah.
And I had a very, my wife was easy to adapt to. Very soon she got Swedish friends here, a Swedish community, and she had the player's wife. We had a tight team, and the wives were tight too back then.
Yeah, they were.
And they were important, I guess, for our success. So
yeah,
no, we adjusted, no problems.
Yeah. So we actually lived in the same neighborhood out in Kirkland at one point. Did you, especially your first year, you had 71 points your first year. You must have had that confidence from that, geez, I know I can play here now. What was the biggest adjustment going from the big rink to the small rink?
That's probably the biggest adjustment. You had to know what to do with the puck when you got it, otherwise you got hit.
Yeah.
On the big ice, you can probably survive easier, but the speed of the game was a lot faster because of the smaller rink. That's for sure. So that was an adjustment, but I didn't play my first 3 games because they wanted to give Jean Hull a fair chance to make the team.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if we lost or whatever, but then I got in the team and played with Pierre Mondou and Mario Tremblay, and after that I didn't miss a game as a healthy scratch, I guess. But
yeah, you only missed 23 games in 8 years. Talk about durability.
Yeah. I played my first exhibition game with Keith Acton and Lafleur. Yeah.
Woody.
When I got the hat trick, but I never got to play with Guy anymore. So I got to play with Mario instead.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, Mario, speak of Mario, when you first came here, Mario said, what did he say? We only got half the player.
Something like that. Yeah.
The rest of them is coming later.
Yeah.
But he kind of took to you right away, certainly Mario, good team guy. Couple years with the Habs here, and who was the first coach for you? Was it Bob Berry?
Bob Berry, yeah.
Bob Berry. And you were there certainly on that trip when he was fired. We went to Vancouver, LA, and Bob was let go afterwards. Before that trip, we had an incredible and difficult practice, if you remember.
Yeah.
You remember we skated in Verdun, and we destroyed the ice.
Yeah.
Now, not having been part of a team before where probably this happened, where Bob Berry got fired. Mario had some words to say on the bus. There was some negative stuff said in front of the coach. Could you believe what you were hearing or seeing at the time?
that part of having a punishment practice after you lost the game, that was new for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when Bob Berry got fired, I that was also a new part. Mary was crying for 2 days
After that practice, right?
Yeah, and he stopped crying when Bob Berry got fired, I guess.
Yeah, well, Bob got let go, and then
but Bob Berry was good to me.
Yeah.
He had one of his best friends playing in LA was Juha Widing.
Yeah,
and Juha Widing was Swedish too.
Yeah,
People really don't know that, but he was a good friend of Juha Widing, and he probably knew the mentality of Swedes. So Bob Berry was nice to me.
Yeah, Bob was good for me too.
Yeah.
He taught me to work hard, and
he
really he pushed me to be a better player.
Yeah,
certainly. So, after he's gone, who came in? Was it right away?
Oh, right after wasn't Lemaire maybe?
Yeah, wasn't Lemaire who came in right after?
And
Jacques Lemaire comes in.
And then Jean Perron came in.
And then Johnny Boy comes in. Pudding came in.
Yeah.
And but Lemaire, when I think of Jacques Lemaire, he was my favorite coach all time.
Yeah, me too. He knew the game.
He was a guy who knew the game, and he certainly he worked with guys to improve, worked with all players to improve. He really helped my game immensely. Back then, certainly the rivalry between the Bruins and us was really big. I know you say because I was there, but that first time going into Boston, what's that like for you? Those tough teams, Boston, Philly, going into that. And they had smaller rinks.
And even smaller, Buffalo and Boston.
Yeah.
I think I felt the rivalry more with Quebec.
You did?
Than Boston, yeah. Because we had some tough, stupid games against Quebec, I would say.
Yeah, but we did, huh?
Yeah.
What made them stupid?
Well, unnecessary fighting. That game we fought after, we had a fight after the first period, and then start of the second period we kept fighting. That's
the Battle of Quebec.
Of Quebec. I don't think that was.
It got crazy, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
and we got some bad injuries too. Jean Amel got hurt, and I guess Michel Goulet got hurt, or Peter Statson or whatever. I think that should not have happened.
Yeah, but it did. And when you look at what happened there, and you talk about that rivalry, you thought it was a more intense rivalry with Quebec.
Yeah, for me it was. Yeah.
Why do you think that happens though? Remember the match de la Vendredi Saint. Why do you think that happens?
I guess they were the underdogs. They had enough crazy coach Bergeron.
Yeah.
And the second fight we had was probably 100% referee's fault. We should not have been allowed to go on the ice.
Yeah.
They should have waited and tell the guys that got a game misconduct to stay in the room, and the second fight would not have happened.
Never happened.
I don't think so.
That was Bruce Hood, and I tell he blamed that whole brawl on me, which actually I look at it like I was part of that.
Yeah.
But I look at Mark Dale Hunter when he had Cabo down on the ice punching him in the head.
Yeah.
And I came to help him out, and then everything exploded. But and you're right about the second period, because I was kicked out of the game.
Yeah.
And a couple guys were.
Yeah.
And they let us back in the ice. We never knew we were kicked out of the
game.
So
we started skating around and announced the names of game misconducts, and then why not go again?
So
that was crazy. And the one we had in Boston where you were fighting in the hallway. And that's the same thing. That should not have happened, because you should not go through there.
Yeah.
team, the bench.
Yeah, I had to
mean,
go by the
yeah,
bench.
then they changed. I guess they changed that, but I mean that was obviously something going to happen here.
They put the nylon glass. Now,
Yeah.
it's funny you say that, but can you understand how that happened though? Like with me going off the ice, Ken Linsman stood right up.
Yeah,
now,
I know.
Didn't you have a problem with Linsman too? At
Yeah,
one time?
yeah, I did, because he was trying to get the Doug Wickenheiser's knee out,
Yeah.
and I got pissed off. So I tried to run him, and I just missed him, but I got a 5-minute major, and that's the only time Don Cherry gave me an okay.
Yeah, because you got a 5-minute
Yeah.
major.
But no, I don't blame you, but you should not have been that close to the bench. That was not your problem.
Yeah. So, I mean, those days were unbelievable. When I think of those two fights, they were incredible. They're scary, right?
Yeah, they
If
are
you get
scary
hurt-
because you don't know what can happen.
People who say that, I hear a lot of guys who play the game. I was never scared, this and that, but that's definitely a scary moment. So those two rivalries, Boston, Quebec, and then Philadelphia.
Yeah, we
the
played them in the
playoffs,
playoffs. Yeah,
And that brawl before the game.
yeah.
What did you think of that when you look at what Claude Lemieux and Shane were doing? Like, that was crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's just to ask for trouble.
Yeah.
But the funny story with that is I always, after warm-up, I went into the trainer's room. So I was sitting there with Guitain Lefebvre, and Rick Green was also there. And then I went back to the dressing room, and it was empty, nobody there. And I opened the door to the arena, and everybody's going nuts. I went back into Green. I said, Greenie, you got to get out there. I said, why? It's a fucking brawl. Let's go. So I went out. I find Pelle Eklund.
Yeah.
I had no problem. We talked, those idiots, let them go.
So you talk Swedish with Pelle?
Yeah.
God, those. I certainly have a different view of that fight.
Yeah, I know. You never started anything.
With the big bastard.
It's never your fault.
Yeah, with the big guy I was with, no shirt on, Dave Brown, fighting him for like 10 minutes was a lot of fun, I got to tell you. But so, Matty, Shell Darling comes over. Yeah. And, Shell, when I first saw Shell, I walked by, he was in the shower. I thought there was a woman in the shower. Yeah. Honest to God, I'm there. Is that a woman or is that a... Anyway, I love Shell Darling. But
everybody did.
He comes over and scores 35 goals as a rookie. It was incredible, the season he had.
Yeah.
What happened in year 2?
I think he got a sore back. I don't know if he changed the coach or whatever. He didn't get as much ice time. Our power play was very good the year he got the same amount of points that I had as a rookie. So we are tying that record.
Yeah, it's
and we had a great power play with Bobby Smith, me, and Claude Lemieux sometimes, or Kjell Dahlin. So next year we were having an average power play, and he didn't get the points. And they maybe got homesick and missed Sweden, and maybe they didn't adjust as good as I or my wife did, especially. Maybe Kjell's wife didn't adjust as good as Eva did. So I think he missed home. That's
and he
but he was a very talented player, not physical at all, but he ended up retiring because of a bad back. So I think it started here the second year. He had a very long back. So
he did.
Yeah.
He certainly did. Tall kid. Now, did he go over and play in Sweden at all?
He played, but never made a full season. He was playing 10 games, had to rest 5-6 games, and now he's a scout for I think Winnipeg maybe.
Oh, really?
So he's still in hockey.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Do you see him much, Shell?
No, I don't see him much.
No.
Every once in a while, and I asked his former teammates and said, "Yeah, Shell is the same. He's the same.
Yeah.
He's a very popular and easygoing guy."
Yeah. So you basically ripped it up the year we won the Stanley Cup, 110 points, incredible season. The fans absolutely loved the Petit Viking. Did you like that nickname, the Petit Viking?
Yeah, I don't know who came up with it, but there was a few of the management that called me the Petit Viking. Serge was one. He also called me the Petit Viking.
Yeah.
I guess I was on the magazine for the Habs magazine, and they
I remember they put
they put that helmet, the
helmet.
Viking helmet on, and after that, I guess I was a Petit Viking. Yeah, I didn't mind it. I should have protected the name and starting to sell underwear or something.
I know,
to
right?
Make money.
So that year again, you ripped it up. We got in the playoffs that year, and it was incredible season for us. I mean, when you have a group of guys, we were pretty close. We stayed together, really close.
Yeah, we were really close.
We were together for quite a while, and we ripped through those playoffs. You always had good numbers in the playoffs too. You're a member of the Triple Gold Club, right?
Yeah.
World Championship, Olympic gold medal, and a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Not many guys have done that. Where does that stand for you as far as career achievements? You know, World Championship, great. Olympic gold medal, great. You're playing for your country. Stanley Cup, where does it stand?
It stands way above because you fight for the Stanley Cup at least 100 games that year.
Yeah.
10 exhibition games and 80 and then playoffs. So Stanley Cup is that's the best you can win. When I won the World Championship, the best player wasn't there. The Olympic I won was in Lillehammer, and there was no NHL players there either. Sweden won the Olympics in Turin with the best players.
Yeah.
But Stanley Cup is by far, and we had a good group. I think people in Sweden thought that NHL player was a selfish group that wanted to score goals and
really
didn't give a shit about plus or minus. But I think we did. We had good guys carrying the team with Larry and Gainey and so on.
Some of the best leaders.
Yeah, some of the best leaders. I mean, you did your best to get off the ice with not letting a goal against you.
So for you, when you talk about leadership and you talk about Bob, it was a great captain. Larry had the A on his jersey. When you got an A on your jersey yourself, what went through what were your emotions about that? Because that's a big thing.
Yeah, I probably think it's a bigger thing now than it was then. We had our issues with the team.
Yeah.
And who was it who gave up his A?
It sounds like it could be Ryan Walter.
No.
So.
It was French guy we got from Winnipeg, right-handed.
Not Norm Dupont.
No. Right-handed.
You got me.
No,
I'm trying to think. Anyway, so you get the A.
Yeah, I got the A because of some issues with the team, and we had our team meetings with Bob and Larry, and I don't think I changed after that. I was pretty much the same guy.
You led by example.
Yeah, I led by example. That's probably the best answer I got to that. But it was a big honor, but I think it's I feel more honorable now than I did then. I think
when
what they did
back.
was when I think what they did then was probably the best for the team, and that's what I thought then.
Yeah, having that A on your jersey was a big thing, and certainly led by example. When I talk about toughness too, and I mean that, and I'm sincere about it, everybody equates being tough with fighting on the ice, right? Oh, he's tough. But people don't understand, I think, the amount of abuse guys your size can often take, and especially back when we played. I remember games, and listen, every time you got hit or something happened to you, I couldn't go out and fight that guy because I'd be fighting every 2 minutes. But there were games you come in, you had welts on your arms because you had that speed and you were able to burn guys on the outside, but you paid a price for it too. You got slashed quite a bit.
Yeah, I got slashed quite a bit, but
And that had to be so different than playing over in the big rink, one. And
yeah,
in
it was
Sweden.
yeah.
And you must not have come close to getting slashed over there like you did over here.
No, not maybe in the World Championships, but not in the regular season in Sweden. It was not that tough. But everybody wanted to slash me, but you had 4 guys in the other team that were stupid enough to slash you. The rest would never touch you. So I had 20 guys slashing me. That's the difference.
But yeah, and the difference is you battled through all that.
Wow.
And ended up still doing your job. They didn't spook you out of the
No,
ring.
no,
That's for sure.
No, they didn't. No.
Which was impressive. Now, I remember in the dressing room, Bob sat to my right and you sat to my left. And you used to come in every morning and you fucking
that's the same.
You always look like you crawled out from underneath the rock.
Same thing.
You
now.
half asleep all the time when you come in, but boy, when you put the skates on and you get on the ice, things change. You woke up pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, I have to tell you a little story there. Too. When I got back to Boston, I played it 3 months.
Oh, I was going to bring that up.
But when I came back, we skated around, on the warm-up of the game, and I met Pepe Lemieux.
Yeah.
He said, "Hi, Mats, you're the same. Hey, you're the same." So I haven't changed. I'm not spending too much time in front of the mirror.
So we win that Stanley Cup in '86, which is just incredible. Something that I only wish I could have been a part of when I was a kid. I used to watch. I went to a couple parades in Boston when the Bruins won with Bobby Orr, and I remember watching them at City Hall. I went to the parade, and they all went to City Hall, and they were up on there was a balcony at City Hall, and they were all up there with the Stanley Cup. Derek Sanderson, Bobby Orr, everybody. And I said, I want to do that one day. And we end up winning that thing, and we go to City Hall that day, and we all jumped in vehicles. How cool was that parade for you when you think you're up on the big float with the cup?
Yeah, and Daniel,
Larry,
Bob Gainey,
and Pudding.
Stephen Gainey.
Was Pudding up there
I don't know. Stephen Gainey and my son Daniel was on it too. And I remember, I think Bob put Daniel in the cup.
Yeah.
So we have a picture with my son sitting in the Stanley Cup. That memory is that's the best memory. 1 million people on St. Catherine Street. It's tough to explain, but that was crazy.
Yeah, it is tough to explain. I can't imagine these kids nowadays when you look at this team and everybody in this town wanting that Stanley Cup to be back in Montreal, and it looks like it's not going to be here for quite a while. Again, I think back in the 80s there, and when you talk about Swedes playing in the NHL, Pelle Lindbergh being one, Philadelphia. Did he grow up in play for the same team you played for over there?
We played. We were born 59, both of us. We played together in the junior national team and the big team. He was playing. I played junior world championship in Montreal, and I was Pelle's roommate.
Yeah.
And Pelle wanted a Bernie Parent Sherwood stick because Bernie he was a copy of Bernie.
Yeah.
So I had to go to all the stores in Montreal to find a Sherwood with Bernie Parent's name on.
And
we finally got it. And I met Bernie 5-6 years ago, and I told him that story, and Bernie just started crying.
Yeah. Well, Pelle unfortunately lost his life in a car accident. How difficult was that for the whole Swedish community? And were you shocked when you heard that happen?
Yeah, I was shocked. Jacques Laperriere was assistant coach, and he called me in the room. I think it was in maybe New Jersey on the road. And he called me. Of course, it was a shock. That unnecessary thing.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Yeah, it's too bad. He was in his prime, on the way to become a real superstar. And he had a wife, and don't think they had kids, but that was unnecessary.
It was really sad.
Yeah.
So again, here in Montreal, 8 seasons with Montreal. 89-90, your last year, you have 41.72 games. You know, I was traded. I was already with another team. When I got traded, it almost broke me. Like, I was devastated. I love this city. I love the team. I love everything about my job with the Canadiens. God, I woke up in New York the next day and I was staring at the ceiling and I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I'm gone. And I don't point the finger at anybody else. I'm the one who made that thing happen. It was my fault I got traded, but I had a difficult time leaving. And you don't really have a chance to say goodbye to people, right? We were together all the time, day in and day out, you know, battling for each other day in and day out, and then all of a sudden you're gone. It's different. 89, 90, you got to a point in your career that, why did you pack it in with the Canadiens?
Well, I had signed a contract in Lugano, Switzerland, right before Christmas that year, and I guess that affected my game. I got less ice time. I didn't play that much power
while you
play.
were playing with the Canadiens. You signed a contract?
Yeah. So
wow.
So
why was that?
To start with, I think I got paid as much as I did in Montreal. I played 36 games a year.
Yeah.
And not as physical.
Yeah.
So I kind of, back in my mind, I kind of, if I survive those 8 years with no injuries, I will have an easier life going back to play in Europe.
Yeah.
And from pretty much from day one, when we got here, we knew we were going to move back to Sweden.
Yeah.
When I had my peak 86, maybe we thought we should stay here. But back in our mind, we always thought we were going to go back to play in Europe.
Yeah.
And then I had an option to go to Lugano, and that's I picked that option.
Yeah, you did.
It was different. I think it was a time where Bob Burns was a coach, and I think he wanted to Pat Burns, and he wanted probably to start bringing up his players from the Sherbrooke team and try to get a younger team and so on and so forth. So that's what happened.
How old were you then?
I was 31, maybe.
31, yeah.
I played 4 more years after that.
Yeah. So you leave the Canadiens. How, you know, like I said, it almost broke me, but you left on your own volition.
Yeah.
But leaving, was it still difficult when you hopped on the plane and headed to Lugano, or were you really excited to start?
I was excited to
new
start
chapter.
There. Yeah. It was not that tough to leave. They had a surprise party for me out in Hudson.
Okay.
Where Swoboda and Chelios and Carbonneau and Bobby Smith and those guys with families came, and I got a good
send off.
Yeah. So
well, that's nice. So you go to Lugano. With the 31 games you played, you had 56 points, almost 2 points a game, and 31 games. How was that? You must have been like, oh. Like this. I don't know if people really understand the rigors and the intensity of an NHL schedule. And then
that's why I chose it, because I slept at home every night. The road games were about 2 hours with bus away.
Yeah,
I had a chance to I guess be more with the family, and there was a big difference. I don't think I missed the NHL then.
Yeah, right.
I don't think I did.
So Lugano, beautiful place to live, obviously, the schedule. Why do you leave there? God, it was so nice. And you end up going up back to Sweden. You go to Malmö.
No, I got fired from there.
You got fired.
Yeah.
How the hell you get fired when you got 56 points in 31 games, for Christ's sake?
Because you had 2 Russian guys in Fribourg, Bykov and Shumatov, and they probably had 89 points.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And that's the way it was. You know, you have 2 imports on every team, and if we lost the final, close games to Bern, and the ones that get blamed is the import. That's how it works. There.
Okay.
So then they get a new import. They got, I think, Brian Propp.
Okay.
He was gone, and Larry Ono was there, and that's how it works there. I thought I was going to stay there for 5 years, but unfortunately I didn't. But
Could you have gone to another team in that league though, or you just
then I was fed up with the country. I had enough of that.
enough of that?
Yeah.
So you end up going back to Sweden, and
I ended up going back to Sweden, winning the World Championship, and I won the Olympics. And like Lappy said, you can't buy groceries for that.
No, you can't. But it's
I got
nice.
the Triple Crown. Anyway.
Yeah, you do have the Triple Crown. So you're back in Malmo.
Yeah.
You're back home.
Yeah.
You played 3 seasons there.
Yeah, I played 3 seasons.
Now, at that time, what kind of money could a guy make playing over there? Had it obviously gone up since you left.
I made my earnings on that. I probably maybe made something like $50 US.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you still work as a carpenter and play hockey?
No.
You just played hockey.
I just played hockey.
So
yeah, for those 3 years, yeah.
Those 3 years.
Yeah.
And then 3 years in Malmo.
Yeah.
What happened? Did you get hit in the head or something? And then want to come back to the NHL?
Yeah. No.
And play for the Boston Bruins. Mats Naslund. That's worse than Chris Nilan playing for the Bruins.
That's why I'm selling my Boston shirt now.
Yeah.
No, the story is that there was a strike or a lockout in NHL that year.
A lockout.
So they put a team together called Gretzky and Friends. They came to Europe and played. And they played in Germany, and they played in Finland, and they played against Malmö. And this was in January, and I retired April before.
Yeah.
So they asked me to be part of that game, and was like an all-star game. It was not too much hitting, but and I had the respect from the other team because they knew I had retired.
Yeah.
So Charlie Huddy and Gretzky and those guys, they didn't really go after me. But I ended up scoring 2 goals and had an assist. So the media asked me, why don't you keep playing in Malmö now? You're in decent shape. Why don't you just keep playing the rest of the year? I said, no, if someone is, I kind of said, stupid enough in NHL to want me to come, I can consider that. So the next day, my advisor, same advice as I had, and he said, what did you say? Well, I mean, I was excited after. Yeah. Last night, I got a call from 2 teams, Boston and St. Louis. And St. Louis wanted you to...
was that Ron Caron, right?
Probably. It
was Prof.
Probably they wanted you on a tryout, but Boston wanted you to come right away if you clear the medical.
Yeah.
So I came for 3 months. I made more money those 3 months than I did in 1 year in Montreal, so I had to do it. I told my wife, it's like winning on a lottery ticket, but I have to work for it a little bit.
Yeah.
So I went to Boston, and there was Easter break or whatever in the middle. The family came over for a week, and then I had 4 more weeks to do there. So, but after 2-3 weeks, I said, well, I had enough of this. I know this. I don't need it.
So, God, I remember you come over. You're 35 at the time.
Yeah.
I remember you came, and I'm like, what the hell is he doing coming to Boston?
Yeah.
But did you love your time there, the short time you had?
I did. No,
living in the city?
I lived in the little Italia there, close to the garden.
North End?
Yeah, close to the garden. And I had the respect from the players there. Raymond Bork took care of me like Larry and Bob did, and Cam Neely was helping me out. And so I had 3 good months, but I didn't have...
Did they want you back for another year? Or?
We didn't even go that far. I'm pretty sure I could have get a job in any of the teams. But I kind of had, I know this, I can.
You had enough. Yeah. So you go
I
back.
had a pretty good year. I started off with almost a point a game, but at the end I slid a little bit.
Yeah, 22 points in 34 games.
Yeah, that's
35-year-old petit Viking. Yeah. It's nothing to sneeze at.
I had 2 games in Montreal, and Montreal didn't have a good team.
Did they boo you?
No, not really, but no one was standing up either.
Yeah.
I got booed in Buffalo, but that was okay.
It's funny. I when I came back, I got booed in Montreal, but
yeah.
only once because they only touched the puck once.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
every time you touch the puck, they boo you. But
No, it wasn't like that. But they were not welcoming me back either. But
it's funny that bothered me. It bothered me
Yeah.
when they booed on the passes.
yeah.
But I understood it, but I didn't.
No,
if you know what I mean.
No, you should not. They shouldn't do that.
I played in New York with a couple Swedes, Jan Eriksson, who I got along with great, Ulf Dahlin, who I got along with great, and a guy that he was a pain in the ass to a lot of players, but I loved him, Thomas Sandstrom.
Yeah.
Everybody called it, he's the Finnish Swede. What is it with that? They say he's a Finn. He's not really a Swede.
Oh yeah, well, we don't say that in Sweden that he's a Finn.
Really?
Not too many people know he's got Finnish parents.
Right.
But he lived close to me. He also worked as a carpenter.
I love Thomas Sandstrom.
Yeah,
he's a teammate.
Yeah, him and Ulf Dahlin are pretty similar. They kind of have a lot of jokes and.
You're gonna have to get me his phone number. I want to talk to him.
Yeah.
So you don't ever work with him on the?
No, I meet him at the wood store sometime, and we don't work together. I never played with him. He came to Malmö after me, and he came to Brynäs to take my carpenter job and my apartment.
Yeah.
When I moved from Brynäs to Montreal.
So you worked with the Swedish team. You were a general manager. What was it? 2006.
Yeah.
You were the general manager of the national team for the Olympics.
Yeah, for the Olympics, and we won the Olympics and we won the World Championship same year. Yeah.
So you do that. You put that team together. Now that's a paid gig, right?
It was
for the national team.
Yeah. Not high salary, but
still, and it's quite an honor to put a team together to do what.
Yeah, I did it with Bengt Gustafsson, the guy that played in Washington for a number of years. He was the coach, and he put the team together more than I did. I helped him out, but we had a good generation for the Olympics there for sure with Sundin and Forsberg and Lidström, and that's probably the best generation we had in Swedish hockey. And
did you like that part of hockey, like being the management side? And
can't compare to play.
Yeah. How come you didn't stick with that? Did you?
The coach had a 4 or 5 year contract, and when he moved, I
moved with him.
I don't know if I'm fed up with hockey, but I had enough. I don't follow hockey that much anymore either.
How about when we think of some great Swedish players? Obviously, Borges, Salming, but Nicholas Lindstrom, like incredible career he had.
Yeah,
is he like the next Salming? Like, is he kind of fit into that role as far as a Swedish hero?
Well,
no one can ever fill those shoes, but would he be that guy? Or?
Yeah, if you don't look at Salming being the first guy and being the tough guy or whatever, Lidström was probably have a better career. He won the Stanley Cup, he won the Norris, and so he's probably the best defenseman hockey wise we had. But we have Peter Forsberg and Mats Sundin, and that there you don't know.
Yeah, Swedish.
Yeah.
Are they so hockey players in Sweden? Obviously, they're heroes to all the young kids, right?
Yeah. Now we have
who would be the number one today?
Today, probably maybe Nylander in Toronto.
Yeah.
As fans,
he's American. Come on.
Yeah, he's American. Yeah. He's little
yank.
Yeah, he's a little selfish. I know that.
You bastard.
No, but the guy in New York, Zibanejad, plays for the Rangers.
Yeah.
They are probably all the kids watch NHL now.
Who was that you said?
Zibanejad or whatever you call him here.
Oh,
long hair.
Zibanejad.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's probably one of those. Kids look
honestly, he doesn't look Swedish.
No, he's not. He's from Iran or Iraq.
Yeah, his name doesn't sound Swedish.
No.
But he's Swedish.
He's Swedish, yeah. As much as Sandstrom is Swedish.
Yeah. Thomas, my favorite. So how about Borges Salming, still a hero in Sweden, and losing him? It was the country, like, the country must have been like in shock. when
Yeah,
happened.
that was a shock because it happened so fast. We were supposed to play some alumni game, and he said, "I cannot be sure I will be there. I have to go through some check
test.
test." And then they found out he had that illness.
ALS.
Yeah, ALS. And so he was from being okay to be gone in 5-6 months.
Oh, it's
I was at
terrible.
we had where they what's it called when he after he died they
Funeral or lake?
they had this sweater up in the roof in
Yeah.
so in Drynäs, and that was tough times. Yeah, he was a hero in Sweden. It was
Yeah,
and the shock, like this strong guy, fit,
yeah.
tough, never been hurt, was gone in 6
He was
months.
like a rock star. Him. I met Borja playing some alumni games and went out with him a few nights. For some reason, I always kind of looked at him like Sting. You know, Sting.
Yeah.
He was kind of that rock star. He dressed like
Yeah.
a rock star,
Yeah.
and he was a rock star.
Yeah.
Borja Salming.
Yeah.
He blazed the way for all you Swedes to come over and play hockey. No question about it. Looking back, Mats, at the entirety of your career, I know probably the Stanley Cup is probably your favorite,
Of course.
right? But what was the best year of hockey for you? Was it that year?
Yeah, it was 86.
And other than that, what was probably your most exciting time as a player? Personally, say from a personal standpoint, what was
Well, I had
other than the cup?
if
what
I'm
was
looking back, I had one great week. We played, I think, Hartford and Detroit at home. I think I got 3 goals the first game, and in next 2 days I got 4 goals. I got 7 goals in 2 games. I was player of the week in NHL and so on. That was probably my best week.
So you had a pretty good way of staying out of the penalty box.
Yeah,
I think
I did.
you only had like 19 minutes in penalties maybe in a season.
Yeah.
And you end up winning the Lady Byng Trophy.
Yeah.
Were you really happy about that?
Yes, I was. Yes, I was.
Come on. Lady Byng.
Yeah, but if I look at the names who won the Lady Byng, it makes me proud.
Yeah, no.
Because there's a lot of good players.
Toe Blake, the last Canadian to win it before you.
Is that right?
Yeah, Toe Blake.
Yeah.
But, and again, I say that, but that is quite an honor.
No, yeah, it is quite an honor. It's an individual recognition from the league. You're not good enough to win the other big trophies, but this is. I had a good year, and I was probably pretty polite with the referees, and so yeah, I'm proud of it. I know it's not your. Not your preference, but
not my cup of tea.
Different roles in the team. We needed each other, so
yeah, that's cool. Lady Byng Trophy, something I never aspired to win, but that is cool. Maddie, let me think. What was it? I have one I wanted to ask. The Lady Byng. So in retirement now, you're back home in Sweden. You work as a carpenter.
Lucien Desblois.
Lucien.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
He did have the A. That's right. Yeah. And you're back home now. Kids are growing up. You got 3 children. Eva, you're back living. How was the transition leaving hockey? Were you just, that's it, I'm fed up, or did you struggle at all?
No, I didn't struggle because I had my education as a carpenter, so I could go back to that. I'm not working like in a big
jobs.
No, yeah. I have small jobs. I have a freedom. If I want to play golf one day, I can play golf. I have different kind of jobs. Sometimes I'm digging a hole to make a fundament.
Yeah,
or the next day I might put in a kitchen or so. Yeah. It's very. I have different jobs every day, so I didn't have a problem. I had a pretty easy way out of the game, and all the people that we are seeing right now, Eva and I, are people that played hockey with our kids.
Yeah.
I don't have too many hockey teammates that I am with for the weekends.
Yeah.
They all with the parents to the kids that we met when we got back to Sweden. That's so I don't miss hockey that much. When I get here, it's great. You get recognized, but I don't miss it that much.
Yeah. So you can certainly watch a hockey game, NHL game today in Sweden. Like back in your day, you didn't see NHL when you were young, but now you can see it every day in Sweden.
Every night. That's
every
the problem.
night. Yeah. Watching the game today, and I know you say it, but you must have an idea of the game. What do you like about it, or what do you dislike about the NHL today?
Well, the speed. I like the speed, and I don't like the speed. It's really fast. Sometimes it's like watching a computer game, going back and forth, and forth. I don't think the strategy for to defend is not really there. It's too fast. There's no trap. You don't should slow the game down a little bit. I like that the hooking and grabbing is gone, because that was bad when we played. You always had
I loved it.
Yeah, I know. Brad Marsh loved it too. I
love slashing.
You love slashing, yeah.
I love giving guys welts on their arms, but
the speed of the game is an advantage, and I guess sometimes it's a disadvantage too. Maybe some guys are good enough to slow it down and then they pick it up again, but now it goes like.
Well, we talk about the health of players, and you think today, big thing, concussions, all that stuff. You hear about it all the time, but Bobby Orr come out and said if the NHL really cared about the health of their players and the health of the game, they should consider putting the red line back in, which would slow it down a bit. But everybody, and you said the 4-letter word that the NHL just hates, and that's the trap. Yeah. They think it ruins the game. Or in saying it, he also said that these guys are that good today with the puck, their talent. I'd like to see them come up the ice together and pass their way.
Yeah.
They're that good that let's see them pass their way out of trouble and get into the offensive zone.
Yeah.
You think that putting that red line in would help?
It's pretty funny. The only guy I heard before telling me that they should bring the red line of side back is Thomas Sandstrom.
Right?
Yeah. He told me that too. I don't know if it's going to help or not. Maybe it's worth a try.
They want it fast. They want the collisions. They want the speed, right?
Yeah. They want the players, the stick specialists. You see when they pass the puck, they just move the stick a little bit, and the puck goes like 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
The speed of the game is probably the passing. If you pass stick to stick, it goes fast from one end to the other end. You cannot skate that fast.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they should do. People love it, so keep it that way.
Yeah. So
we don't like the concussions, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. When you talk about that yourself, you had no concussions, but you were as durable as anybody in this game. When you play 8 seasons over here and miss 23 games, that's incredible.
Yeah, I don't think I saw the stars sometimes when I got hit.
Did you?
But not that wasn't called concussion back then.
Yeah. Did you see stars? And I scored on a penalty shot against Winnipeg. Did you see stars that night?
Yeah, I saw a star.
Yeah.
I don't even remember that. Did you play in Boston then?
No, it was in Winnipeg. Come on. It was Patrick Watt's first game as a rookie. Yeah. I had 2 goals that night, 1 assist. It was like, I thought you'd remember that.
No, I don't.
You bastard.
I remember one thing though.
What?
We played the Winter Classic alumni game in Boston.
Yeah.
And there was a penalty shooting after to decide the game.
Yeah.
And we started with, I don't know, Kovalev and this. And then Lafleur was a coach. He said,
thank you, Guy.
Yeah.
He gave me a chance.
Yeah. Nilan take the next. And Mats, you take the after Nilan. It won't be a penalty shot after Nilan. I was right. He missed. So game over.
God, I had the game on my stick. I couldn't.
Yeah.
All they had to do was,
Yeah.
and it didn't go up.
No, it
hit
didn't
the
work
pad.
that way.
Thank you, Guy Lafleur, for putting me out there.
Yeah.
He knew a Boston kid.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He was right.
God, I had my chance, but yeah, Maddie. God, it's like, honestly, sitting here today with you, it's like sitting next to you in the locker room all those years. It's like you never left. Like,
Yeah.
isn't it amazing when you see guys that you played with all those years?
Yeah. You
and-
just pick up the conversation from 20 years ago. Yeah. That's amazing.
It's incredible.
That's what makes the team sport so great.
Well, Mats Naslund, this has been awesome. I'm so glad you took the time. I love you, buddy. You're a good man. You're a great teammate
Thank you.
for
Thank
those
you,
years.
Chris.
And yeah, it's great to see you. And make sure you say hi to Eva and
I
the
will.
family when you get back to Sweden.
I will.
So awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Raw Knuckles with Chris Nilan on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.